jump ahead to the late 1820s when there is a very clear example of just how disastrous the consequences can be when judicial review breaks down and the court's independence is sacrificed to the politics of the day. Andrew Jackson is president. Jackson's nickname was Old Hickory because he was thin but tough. He was a general, veteran, and hero of the Revolutionary War, War of 1812, and the wars against the Creek Indians. He had even been a senator representing Tennessee.
Andrew Jackson.
Jack Palance played him in a movie, and most of us know him as the face of the $20 bill. This is Jackson being sworn in by a much older Chief Justice John Marshall, who Hollywood has yet to make a movie about, but probably should.
By the 1830s, he was not happy with the election of Andrew Jackson to the presidency, I can tell you that.
Jackson rejected the idea that the courts have any special power to interpret or enforce the Constitution.
That was at a time when it was not common for everyone to say, the Supreme Court made its decision, now we have to follow it. Rather, they said, the Supreme Court made its decision, maybe we'll follow it, maybe we won't. It depends if we like it.
Okay, so here's where things go wrong. Jackson and a number of states had what they called, and it's hard to say out loud today, an Indian problem. Indian nations were separate from the U.S. Many had treaties with the federal government, like France or Spain. The treaties were supposed to protect them. But Jackson used his first State of the Union address to announce a policy to remove the eastern Indian tribes completely from within state boundaries to the territories out west. Time out. We're using the word Indian, not Native Americans. It's the term people used back then, and we're using it now because our Indian friends told us to. Okay, back to the story. The country was expanding, and Indians were in the way.
American Indian tribes were basically pushed off their land and moved really against their will.
Jackson knew that if the Indians were made miserable enough that they could be forced to agree to a treaty, that literally the Indian people would have no choice except to move or die.
The state of Georgia was making life particularly miserable for the Cherokee tribe in spite of a treaty the Cherokee Nation had with the federal government.